I was 18, sat in my room, trying to figure out what I was supposed to do with my life. I had just been released from a football academy, and everyone around me seemed to have an answer, but I didn't. I'll tell you exactly what happened after that, where it took me, what it cost me, and the exact moment where I decided that I'm not doing it anymore. But make sure you stick with me to the end, because the last part of this story is the one that actually matters if you're watching this and something in your gut is telling you the same feeling that I felt. Growing up, football was everything to me. That was the plan, if you can even call it that. It was what I loved, what I was good at, and it just made sense. But the thing I was forced to realize was that football doesn't wait around for you to figure life out. There's a very small window for you to make it, and if it closes and you don't have a backup plan, then you're left with nothing. When I was 18, that's when my window shut, because I was released from a footballing academy. Now, I'm not gonna lie, at this point I was lost. Not dramatically, and I wanna make that clear, because a lot of the people who are watching this aren't in crisis mode. They're just quietly unsure about what they wanna do. I wouldn't say I was in trouble or that I was failing at life. Again, I was only 18, but I just didn't know what came next after the thing that I had built my whole identity on wasn't the thing anymore. So I did what a lot of us do. With some advice from my parents and older figures, I did the sensible option and I went and got a job with a very well-known train company. It was actually an apprenticeship and it made my life so much more stable. There were very decent benefits. And although I didn't realize it at the time, I was now fully fledged into a career. Now I want to be very honest with you. On paper, it was a great move. I'm so grateful to have been able to have that opportunity, the structure that it gave me, the financial stability that it gave me. It allowed me to do so many things, like being able to buy my first house at 23 years old. Like, let's be real, I was earning a lot of money, more money than a lot of my friends at that time. And to be honest, I didn't really know how to manage it at the time, but life was good. But here's the thing about choosing a sensible option. It can be the right decision for right now, and still be the wrong decision for the way you want to live your life. Listen, I did the shift work. I did the earlies, the lates, the nights, the 5 a.m. starts, the 2 a.m. finishes, the night shifts that you don't even know what day it is. I did all of those, and I started to realize very slowly what it was actually costing me. And when I say costing me, I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about time. I was missing a lot of people's birthdays, celebrations, and milestones because I was on shift. I was banging out double shifts just to make sure I can bank enough time and money to take a proper holiday to reset myself. Like, I couldn't remember the time I had more than 3 or 4 days off and actually was able to feel present during that time and had time to switch off from work stuff and actually be present with my family and friends and life, the life that I want to live. The only time that would happen is if I had a week's annual leave. And that's when it started to realize, it started to dawn on me. I was literally taking annual leave just to have a few days off to recover from work, just to come back to work at the end of it. And it felt like a revolving cycle. Now, with this bit, I want to be really clear, because this is the part that really gets missed by people. I wasn't unhappy. I was very grateful, and I still am. But you know when something in your spirit kind of just wants you, it knows that you're capable of more, wants you to be able to do more with yourself. Like, if you've ever felt that, like, grateful for what you have, but something in you just wants you to do better, wants you to do more. That's not ungratefulness to me. That's just your spirit, your mind subconsciously telling you that you're meant for more. And the truth is just trying to get your attention. And a quick one, just before I move on, because the next part is the part that most people ask me about, and I don't want you to miss it. If any bit of what I've said sounds familiar to you, stay to the end of this video. Not just for the story alone, but by the end of the video, I'm gonna tell you exactly how I built something new for myself. And the very last thing that I'm gonna share with you is the one piece of advice that changed everything for me. And to be honest, I wish I heard it a lot earlier when I was 18, because then I would have been able to move a lot quicker and a lot faster. So this is what changed things. I started to look sideways, not at different jobs, but at different lanes. And that allowed me to start looking at things and thinking completely differently. And that's when I came across property. And specifically, the bit that stood out for me was the fact that you didn't need to own property or have loads of money to get started. I did a bit of a deep dive, and this is where I came across the model rent to rent service accommodation. This is where I could operate other people's properties, run them as short-term lets, and build an actual income stream without having to own any piece of brick or mortar. Now, the way I just described it sounds very simple, innit? Let me tell you for a fact it wasn't, and I'm not gonna pretend like it was. My first deal took months of rejection before it landed. Because remember, I'm new to this. I'm doing this alongside juggling a full-time job and learning everything from scratch. I'm talking pricing, guest management, negotiating with landlords that have never heard of this model and didn't trust some 20-something-year-old to come and rent out their property to sublet it. And trust me, along this journey, I've made so many mistakes that have cost me money that I really didn't need to lose. And even though I felt down every time I made a mistake, there was something that kept me going. It was kind of like that Sunday night feeling. For those of you that do 9 to 5, you'll know that feeling of when you realize that your rest days or your time off is over and then you have to go back to work. For some of us that do shift work, that could be any time of the week. But all in all, it's the same feeling. You know the one I'm talking about. And that feeling there is what kept pushing me, because I didn't want that feeling to shape the rest of my life. So I kept pushing, kept plugging away. I finally got my first unit, then 1 became 2, then 2 became a handful. And from there, I learned how to systemize it, how to build a team around me so that I don't have to do everything myself, and how to actually treat it like a business rather than a side hustle that was fitting in between my shifts. And slowly, that thing that started out as a side hustle in between shifts then became a business that has a portfolio of over 30 plus properties across multiple cities. And it's run properly with a team and with actual systems behind it, which is why I have the time to make this video. But again, let me tell you something really quickly. A lot of people will hear the 30 plus properties and think, great, you've done a fantastic job. This is what I want to get into. But that was not the biggest shift. The biggest shift was not financial. It was the fact that I actually had my time back. I could now take off days and actually rest. I could actually go to birthdays, milestones and celebrations and actually enjoy myself and be present. I could actually be sitting on a beach on a random Tuesday and not feel the dreaded feeling of my stomach sinking because I've got to go back to work and I'm not even relaxed or recovered. Now this is why I'm telling you this, because I want to be very straight with you rather than dancing around it. I built this through trial and error. Mostly error because I didn't have someone in my corner to tell me an actual path. It took me years to learn something that I can now teach to someone in weeks. And that's exactly why I've put together a masterclass. Not a generic, this is how to get rich, but an actual walkthrough of how I built this from the ground up. I'm talking the real steps, the real numbers, and the mistakes so that you don't have to repeat it. If you're sat here and any part of my story has felt like your story, this is built exactly for you. Not for people who already have it figured out, but for those that are very grateful for what they have, but know deep down inside them, they're meant for more. I often think about that 18-year-old self, not in regret, because I don't believe in any of that. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and you go through things to set you up for things further down the line. But I do think about how much faster things could have been if I had someone who could have shown me the way rather than me having to stumble in it. And that's really the point of everything I've built since. Not just the portfolio side, but the education side of what I do now. Because I meet so many people that were exactly where I was. Stuck behind a desk or stuck in uniform, working shift patterns that just don't agree with them in life, and doing everything that was supposed to lead up to fulfillment but just hasn't. And it's not because they've done anything wrong, but it's just because no one has shown them that there's actually another door. And that door is the one that I'm holding open right now. Now I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's easy, because it wasn't for me, and I don't think it's going to be effortless for you either. But it is learnable and it's buildable. And you don't need to have everything figured out in order to start, because I definitely didn't. So here's what I want you to do now. The link is in the description below. That's where you'll find the details for the masterclass, where I walk through exactly how I built this step by step, the same way I wish someone had shown me when I was 18. Now I want to be real, spaces are limited, and the reason why is because I want to make sure that I am very present for those who join, and I'm not spreading myself so thin that nobody gets real value. So if you've watched this video and any part of my story sat with you, don't be that person that watches this, nods along and does nothing with it. That was me for much longer than I'd like to admit. And the only thing that changed my life was the moment I acted on the feeling rather than just sitting with it. Click the link, grab your seat while it's available, and I'll see you in there. If this video meant something to you, that probably means that you already know what you need to do next. I'm not gonna tell you twice. I'll see you on the next one, or better yet, I'll see you on the masterclass.